Good morning, everyone. This is Holy Thursday. And on this day, we have really kind of two masses that can be offered. There's the first mass, which is the Chrism Mass. And most oftentimes it takes place on this Holy Thursday. Now, for our archdiocese, it's been a long tradition that this Chrism Mass takes place on Tuesday night, which is permissible for the archbishop to make that decision. The law of the church, the liturgical law, allows him to move that to a day that is close to Easter, but hopefully in anticipation of it. And the point of it is as you might have tuned in on Thursday night or on Tuesday night, the archbishop, had the Chrism Mass down at the cathedral. In years past, the cathedral has been the place on the night of the Chrism. Oh my goodness, allergies are strong today. The Chrism Mass has been the place at which not only do they bless the oils, as we saw take place on Thursday night, but it's also the place that priests come together to renew their their ordination promises. And so it's normally a place where all the priests come together and there's a great sense of unity. They recommit themselves before the people of God to live out those promises of their ordination. So it's a re-strengthening and even a celebration of our sacramental priesthood in which we've been ordained in service to the people. Now, Tuesday night was a little bit different. As you guys might have tuned in, there were very few people there. In fact, there were the deans. Myself being a dean, I went down representing kind of the whole deanery and the priests from this deanery down there at that moment. But in that little brief ceremony, though, we still had this moment of being around our bishop, to be there and to make this great proclamation. So in other dioceses, they do have the Chrism Mass on Thursday. But I want to talk a little bit more about the Holy Thursday that we have today, or what is maybe normal for us, and that is the supper, the Lord's Supper, that Mass of the Lord's Supper, which we take place tonight. Now, for us, especially, given the strange circumstances we're under, we're having the supper, the Lord's Supper, the Mass of the Lord's Supper tonight at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m., or at 7:30 in Spanish. And so you guys can tune in and watch that. Now, we as three priests, we've been trying very hard to wrap our heads around and try to reconcile and try to come up creatively with ideas of how we can help people to engage more actively this time of the Triduum, or the time, it's Holy Week, and as we get into the time of the Triduum. So tonight we have something that's special. We were given special permission by the Archbishop. It's in fact an idea that Sister Arceli had. And at the end of the normal Mass, so normally we have for the Mass of the Lord's Supper, we have the washing of the feet. Now, this year we're unable to do that. And so it's an optional part of the Mass, but it's something that has been often celebrated in our communities, especially around here in the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City. But so when we have, we don't have that, we'll go through with the Mass kind of quote unquote as normal. It will seem like a very normal Mass. But at the end of Holy Thursday Mass, one of the characteristics, the big differences of the Mass at the end is not that there's this kind of dismissal. In fact, we go directly from the prayer after communion, and we immediately go into taking and putting the hosts, the rest that were consecrated for the Good Friday service. We take that and take it to the altar of repose. Now, last year we had a nice procession out of the church. We went over here to the parish hall. We had the altar of repose there. We had the Pange Lingua playing, the Tantum Ergo, all these beautiful Eucharistic hymns. And there we had a moment that everybody could come, and until really about midnight, we were allowed to, or we had people coming in and out to pray in great silence and prayer before the Lord, in kind of that anticipation of the Passion that was getting ready to take place. So This year, obviously, we can't open up the hall to everyone. We can't have people coming in. We can't do any of this. So a little frustrating, right? But the Archbishop, as I said, gave us special permission to instead, at the very end, and again, Sister Arceli's idea, that we can take the monstrance and we'll have a procession out, a kind of Eucharistic procession, and we can process out through the parking lot. Now, couple caveats here. Okay, really important. And I asked for everyone's participation. Now, I sent out a message on the mobile app inviting everyone who's able to come in their cars and then to play the uh, play the YouTube stream there. Now there's gonna be a little bit of delay, right? So not very much, but as we're exiting out, you may still see us technically up on the altar. Don't freak out. We're not in some kind of time warp. But when we come through the parking lot, everybody has to stay in their cars. You cannot get out of your cars, please. This is not just something by the city and the state, but it's also the Archbishop. He said, if people get out of their cars, you have to immediately go back inside. So we have to strictly abide by the Archbishop's permission. And so it was given with this condition that everyone has to stay in their cars. So when you come tonight, don't just kind of, it may take a little extra time to get situated. Don't just pull in regularly, right? Don't just like pull in car to car, front to front, right? Instead, flip it around so that you're facing kind of the aisle way. That as you're going to pull out to leave, you can just pull out straight. You don't put it in reverse. I hope I'm making this clear. So as you're setting up tonight, make sure that you're facing so that you're facing into the aisle way, not facing to someone else's car directly, right? So in this way, we'll come down through there and we'll try to take it slowly, so that people can actually have a moment to really adore Christ in their hearts. Um, and that we can have this kind of moment where you can spend this time with the Lord. Now, we're inviting people to come to the church, but again, stay in your cars. Live stream it from your phones, from your tablets, whatever. Set it up in your car. You and your families come to this church. If you're late, that's okay. If you're like, oh no, it just started. Oh, wow, it's too late. Come anyways. Turn it on. Go ahead and to hit the live stream up on your car, and start coming. Come to the parking lot. Again, position yourself in that way, and then at the end of mass, we'll have the exposition as we go down through the parking lot all around. Again, we're going to try to take as much, as a good, decent amount of time for everyone to have a chance to adore the Lord. And then at the very end, we're going to repose Jesus in that altar of repose that we've had there. Father John Paul's great idea to put the other tabernacle from the chapel there at the doorway, and there the Lord will be. So if you want to spend some more time in prayer, especially over these next couple of days, please do so. Now, again, I got to bring this up. All right, social distancing, 6 feet apart. We've been encouraged now recently to wear some kind of mask, something over our face, just to kind of keep just keeps an extra level of protection out there. So I have a bandana. That's one of the acceptable usages out there, is to take a bandana. Makes me feel a little bit like I'm in the Old West. So you all can too bring a bandana, something to cover your face. If you forget, don't worry. It's not an obligation at this point, but it's also a matter of courtesy that, right, any kind of like little bits of spit that might fly out, you're preventing that from hitting anybody else. So as you come, be respectful of other people's space out there. Again, 6 feet apart from each other. And if you stay in your cars, that's perfectly fine too. So that takes care of kind of Thursday. Now, a little preview. So I'm going to put out another video tomorrow morning about how to kind of enter in more deeply into to Good Friday. So in all of this time, I encouraged on Sunday, I guess, to really take time away and to try to not watch as much TV during this week. Try to shut it off a little bit more, try to have a little more silence, silent prayer, enter into that a little more. One of the things you can do that's very powerful is maybe take each one of these days, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and take one of the gospel accounts. Enter into how that passion was for this gospel writer. There's little subtle differences in each one of them, and so take that, include that in your family prayer time, or parts of it. Maybe the whole of it is a little bit long, so you maybe take parts of it. Open up the readings. Go to usccb.org, and over on the side you'll see a little calendar there, and you can click on the day and get the readings for the day and follow along. So take some time today and really be intentional about these things. Um, Come together as family. So, bringing me to Friday, Good Friday, a little kind of preview ahead. I'll talk more about it tomorrow, but already think tomorrow at 3 o'clock we have in English, and then at 6 p.m. in Spanish. Um, Plan on those one of those times, or to plan another time if it's not convenient for you, but to plan this time to come back to a place in your home where you all can come together and bring a crucifix. You know, take a crucifix. So one of the beautiful things about Good Friday is the veneration of the cross. And this beautiful moment, and maybe you've done this in the years past, of the kissing of the cross. And so take this with you in your homes. Take a crucifix off the wall. Take your favorite crucifix. Just one crucifix, preferably. The liturgy reminds us, at least here in the church, we're only to have one cross or one crucifix. And just to make this moment, whenever we have during the service tomorrow, the Good Friday service, there will be a point at which we're going to invite everybody to reverence their crosses in their homes. And so plan for that today. If you don't have a cross today, go, grab some pieces of wood. Even if it's a simple wood cross that you put together, make it your 2020 cross that you reverence. And have that somewhere prominent in your home, especially until Easter morning, or even after Easter morning, to wrap it in some white cloth, drape some white cloth over it to signify the resurrection. But in this way, you can kind of prepare for tomorrow in a little bit, special way. So I wanted to give you all the heads up for that. Get another video to come out tomorrow morning, and God bless you in all this. Stay healthy, and God with you all.